Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Obsessive Compulsive Gaming. I am the Obsessive Compulsive Gamer, and this is my review for Terminal Brigade. So dear viewers, this particular video game released recently for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox. And just like that beautiful bearded bastard Barry Bertrum, you're probably wondering,
what is this?
Terminal Brigade is an action roguelike co-op hero shooter set in a futuristic digital world. We dive into the Nullverse as a rogueteer to make a last stand against unfolding shadow algorithms. You choose your rogueteer, unite in the virtual realm, and participate in the rebellion to free enslaved digital worlds. And if that sounded like a lot of garbled bollocks to you, dear viewers, you're not alone there. You are definitely not alone there. Words like rogueteer, rebellion, digital world, nullverse. It's complete and utter nonsense. But is it any good? That's really the question we're here to answer, aren't we? And I would like to answer that question for you the only way I know how. Badly. So let's get one thing absolutely straight, dear viewers. I do not play these particular kind of video games because I have any interest in microtransactions. So I ignore them. Nor do I have an interest in different character skins. You know, buy a red coat, wear a yellow coat, wear a wristwatch in the shape of a dildo. You know, all of that usual garbage you get in games like this. I pay no attention to it whatsoever. I'm here for two things and two things only. One, the story, and two, of course, the gameplay. And does Terminal Brigade deliver? Kind of. So let me expand upon that. Upon starting up the game, you'll be greeted with two characters that you can choose between, one a male and one a female. Again, I don't really pay much attention to what their specific abilities are, whether they're better at defending or attacking or taking a dump when no one's looking. I don't really pay attention to that kind of thing. So I chose the chap because he had a gun, and I like using guns in these games because I'm a big fan of third-person shooters, and I'm very happy to report that this game, taking it as a third-person shooter, is absolutely marvelous. The gameplay's great. They'll just throw enemy after enemy at you. Some have shields, some don't have shields. Some are big, some are small, some are probably not very good in bed, and you get the absolute pleasure of gunning all these bastards down. Not only that, but you can do it in style using abilities that you earn from just playing through the stages of the game. You'll be able to upgrade your rogueteer. Yes, you'll probably be able to unlock other rogueteers using all that damn currency that you get in the game. But like I said, I chose the starting character. I stuck with the starting character until I decided to stop playing the game, so I can't comment on how any of the other rogueteers are. Nor can I comment on whether it is worth dropping actual money to purchase them. Though probably, I don't want to promote people dropping actual money into this game. Yes, this is a free-to-play game. Oh, did I forget to mention that? Yes, it is, which means it didn't cost me anything to download, and I like to keep it that way. I would only ever consider dropping real money if it was a particular game that I was obsessed with, and if it was something like an XP booster I was buying, or extra lives, extra stages perhaps, DLC, you know, that kind of thing. I've done that while playing Destiny. Yes, of course, Destiny is a AAA, non-free-to-play game. I get that. But just based on the gameplay, this is marvelous. Reminds me a lot of those third-person shooters I love, like Binary Domain. Some that I don't love so much, but are still pretty good in the gameplay department, like Battleborn, Borderlands. You know, shooty video games. And while there are several modes you can play in, I didn't really notice a difference in really any of them, apart from the fact that in one you can choose your difficulty, and obviously the aim is to try and play through the stages on higher difficulties, which will probably give you better loot. Now, the idiot that I am saw that the game was promoting a quote-unquote story mode, so I decided to put that up, see an absolutely marvelous opening cutscene, and then the rest of my time with the story mode probably had as much story content as you would find in an advertisement for Thrush Cream. No splendid cutscenes breaking up the stages. No voice acting from our character apart from maybe the occasional ooh or ah or ee or ooh or ah. You know, those are probably considered more sound effects than voice acting though. So in the quote-unquote story mode, you'll move through a stage, a very short stage, usually only lasting a couple of minutes, and you'll gun down enemies. There'll be a boss fight at the end of the stage, no doubt. These bosses are actually rather good. In fact, some of the bosses that you go up against, when you beat them, you then unlock them as a playable Rugateer. So you continue that until you finish the world. Now, for example, the first world has 20 levels in it. And while 20 levels sounds a lot, considering that you can get through each of these stages in a couple of minutes, it's, not that long, but then you move on to the second world and then on to the third world. And it was in the third world that I started to encounter quite a lot of problems. I noticed that I was getting through the level quite easily. I wasn't suffering at all. In fact, I hadn't died once. And then the third world hit, and oh my god, I got to the 14th stage of that world, and I was getting my ass handed to me, and not a way that I like. When someone politely comes up to you and says, "Excuse me, sir, you dropped your ass. Here, I have picked it up for you. Have it back." And I turn around and say, "Thank you, my good man. Have a shilling for your trouble." No, not like that. I'd be dying within a couple of seconds, so I went online, looked it up to see what the hell is causing this, and it turns out that the difficulty for the quote-unquote story mode adapts to how you play. So I guess because I was soaring through the quote-unquote story mode, they decided that I should be given something of a challenge. But I think they overshot it, dear viewers. These stages in the bloody third world are absolutely impossible for me now. And no matter how much grinding I did going into the other modes of the game, which essentially play exactly the same as the quote-unquote story modes, but you can pick your difficulty in those modes, I just couldn't get past the 14th stage of the third world, so that's where I had to stop. But anyway, there's no trophies for playing through the quote-unquote story mode, and I've earned quite a lot of them already, so I decided I think I've made my mind up about this game. And to put it rather simply, treating it as I did as a third-person shooter, the gameplay is very good. It's a lot of fun. I played it for hours and hours and hours, then I would play a new release, finish said new release, put the review up, and then go back and play a couple more hours. I was having a lot of fun, until the game decided to punish me for somehow being good at it. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. But, and this is a big but, I did not pay for the game. I do not indulge in the microtransactions. I don't play with players online. So whether the crossplay is any good or matchmaking is any good, I can't comment on any of that. All I can comment on is what I experienced. And what I experienced was a very good free-to-play shooter video game. I just wish that the quote-unquote story mode was that. A story. There's no story here. Or if there is, I'm certainly not picking up on it. It just seems to be go into stage, play a couple of minutes, finish stage, go into next stage, play a couple of minutes, finish stage. Of course, in between the stages, you upgrade your character, unlock the rewards, get all that stupid currency that I probably won't use ever, because I'm not interested in downloading a jacket that is blue instead of green. So this is going to be quite a tough one to give a recommendation for, but a free-to-play game, how can I not recommend it? Whether you choose to be a fool and spend money on microtransactions, well, that's up to you, dear viewers. But this, for me, was a very fun, fast, frenetic, nice-looking third-person shooter. Is it as good as something like Warframe or Destiny? No, of course not. Absolutely, of course not. But this is a relatively new game, so it may improve over time. And I'll probably dip back in every now and again, see if they fix that quote-unquote story mode, and maybe I'll come back with more I can barely speak now. And maybe I'll come back with some more content for it. But in the meantime, I have no hesitation in declaring that Terminal Brigade is very good. And better yet, it's free. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, another review by yours truly. If you enjoyed this little review of mine, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't enjoyed it, well then feel free to give me a thumbs down. But please remember the single most important thing I always tell you, dear viewer, and that is to always stay obsessed with gaming. Are you still here? Oh, you must have really enjoyed this video then. In that case, you had better subscribe to the channel and check out our other content. Otherwise, you're a booby pants, and no one wants to be a booby pants.